What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been so long. Been doing a lot of hunting recently, and that's kind of taken precedence over these videos. And as I was out in the woods the other day, I thought of this topic. So I'm in Missouri, I'm doing some deer hunting. We got a little bit of weather. After that kind of storm passed through, we were left with these super blustery winds of like 35 miles an hour. And out in the dry leaves, you just couldn't hear anything. And when you can't hear anything, it's awfully hard to hunt. And when the deer can't hear anything, they don't like to move either. So that got me to thinking about my home defense rifle. If you guys aren't hunters, maybe this will kind of help describe things a little bit better. But typically when you're hunting for whitetails, you're sitting still, you're watching, you're listening, you're trying not to move. Because if you're looking around like this and you're looking over your shoulder, you're moving too much, the deer's gonna see you before you see them. They're gonna run off, and then you guys have burned a tag. So a lot of what you're doing is looking in front of you and listening behind you. That way you're not doing this all the time, jerking around. Also, that deer is using their hearing abilities to listen for predators and so on and so forth. So how does that translate into the world of home defense? There is some school of thought that if someone enters your home and they mean to do you harm, you want the loudest gun available. That way, if you don't hit them and stop the threat, you will scare them off and they're gonna go running out the door. Now, on the other side of that school of thought is kind of where I'm at, which is if I'm gonna utilize my rifle for home defense, I still want the ability to be able to hear after my shots are fired and after I've ended the threat. Now, without going into the gory details of things, even if you shoot someone, you still want to be able to listen and hear if they're moving around, if they're talking. I also want to be able to communicate with my family and be able to hear them to give them instructions of stay inside your room, call 911, get out of the house, go to the neighbors, so on and so forth, etc. So if I'm utilizing a firearm that's super loud and I'm definitely not going to have time to put hearing protection on, after those shots are fired, even after one shot is fired, I'm not going to be able to hear jack shit except for the ringing in my ears, which takes away one of my senses that I'm trying to utilize to stop the bad guy. Being able to hear the bad guy or your target is just as important as being able to see them. So without going into tactics, because I am not an expert in that, I have no experience whatsoever, this is just my reasoning, my thought process, which is I want to be able to retain all of my senses if I'm going to protect myself in a home defense situation. So guys, I went with this Aero Precision 300 Blackout. It is an 8-inch barrel. It's their complete upper. I purchased the lower separately, married those two together. Again, this is a Black Aces suppressor for 30 cal. And when I set this rifle up, I actually contacted the guys at Aero Precision and I said, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to keep a smaller overall package. I want to suppress it. What should I go with? What's optimal? They were honest and told me that, you get full powder burn at that 9 to 10 inch mark. So a 9-inch barrel is kind of the ideal setup. However, at the time they weren't offering a 9-inch barrel, so I went with the 8-inch. So I know what you guys are thinking is, why did you go with the 8-inch barrel? Well, I wanted to keep an overall short package once I added that suppressor on there, and I didn't want to lose too much in terms of velocity and terminal ballistics. And I will say this much about Aero Precision's quality. I did not get an adjustable gas block on here, but from the factory, once I added that suppressor on, this thing runs like a top. You get a perfect ejection of about 3:30, 4 o'clock, which means this way out of the rifle, and it runs like a stuck hog. It's hard to describe, but if you guys ever get the chance to run a suppressed 300 Blackout with subsonic loads, I would encourage you to do so. And if I were to break it down in terms of the rawest form compared to 5.56, whereas the 5.56 doesn't have too much muzzle flip as it is, you still have to work to control the rifle. With a subsonic load out of the 300 Blackout, you get far less recoil and you can keep your shots on target a lot easier than you can with its counterpart. You still get a little bit of muzzle rise, but it's so minimal that I'm able to get twice as many rounds on target before I'm having to drive back down again. Pair that with this CMC lightweight trigger on here with a super crisp break, and that makes for very, very fast shots on target. That's the best way I can describe it, is that it recoils less than the 5.56. The 5.56 already doesn't recoil that much as it is, but I'm telling you, I feel like I'm twice as fast with this setup than I am with any AR-15 that I've run to this day. So if you guys are in the market for an AR-15 and you're looking for a shorter overall package, I would stay away from these 7-inch 5.56 guns. I would say if you're gonna get anything, get something that's in the 10.3, 10.5 category, but I would encourage you to look into the 300 Blackout. Again, I like the ability to be able to hear after my shots break within the house and still be able to communicate with my family, still be able to hear the bad guy if that threat is not ended. And overall, I just feel more confident with this setup. It's faster, less recoil, less sound, but I'm still sending super deadly rounds downrange. Again, guys, I can't say enough good things about the Aero Precision. You guys should go check them out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and as always, keep shooting.